Hello everyone. Welcome to Nanuya channel. I'm your host Nino, and tonight we're diving into a question that's plagued so many of us. Why do we worry in the middle of the night? And at the end of the video, there will be some explanations of difficult words or phrase to expand your vocabulary. It's 2 a.m. You're supposed to be sleeping, but instead you're wide awake. Your brain's replaying that awkward conversation from 3 years ago, or spiraling into an endless loop of what-ifs about your future. Sound familiar? You're not alone. But why does this happen? Why does our mind seem to sabotage us when all we want is rest? To understand why nighttime worry feels so intense, let's start with the science of sleep. During the night, especially in the early hours, our brain cycles through different sleep stages. When we wake up in the middle of the night, it's often during a lighter stage of sleep. At this point, our brain's emotional regulation system, including the prefrontal cortex, which helps with rational thinking, isn't fully online. This leaves the more primitive, emotional parts of our brain, like the amygdala, running the show. Without the prefrontal cortex to keep things in check, small worries can feel massive. That minor issue you could brush off during the day suddenly feels like the end of the world. It's as though your brain has dimmed the logical lights and turned up the emotional volume. Psychologists even have a name for this phenomenon, the 3 a.m. mind. At night, we lack the distractions of daytime activities. There's no work, no social interactions, no screens, or at least there shouldn't be. This stillness can leave us alone with our thoughts, and if those thoughts are stressful, they can quickly spiral. Interestingly, research shows that our bodies are more sensitive to stress at night. Cortisol, the hormone that helps us deal with stress, is typically lower during the nighttime hours. This means that even small stressors can feel overwhelming because our body isn't as equipped to handle them. There's also an evolutionary theory that might explain nighttime worry. Our ancestors, who lived in a much more dangerous world, were more vulnerable to threats at night. So, staying alert during the dark hours could have been a survival advantage. While we're no longer fending off predators, our brains may still default to this heightened state of vigilance in the dark. So, what can you do when worry strikes at night? Here are a few practical tips. Don't fight it. Sometimes, just accepting that nighttime worry is a common experience can help reduce its power. Practice deep breathing. Slow, controlled breathing activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which can help calm your mind and body. Write it down. Keep a notebook by your bed. If your thoughts won't stop racing, jot them down. This simple act can help you feel like you've offloaded the worry. Get out of bed if necessary. If you've been tossing and turning for more than 20 minutes, get up and do something calming, like reading or listening to soft music. This helps break the association between your bed and stress. Reframe your thoughts. Ask yourself, will this matter a week from now? A year from now? Often, nighttime worries lose their intensity in the light of day. So, the next time you find yourself awake at 3 a.m., remember, it's not just you, and it's not forever. Our brains are complex, sometimes inconvenient machines, but understanding why they behave this way can help us manage those restless nights. Thank you for joining me on this episode. If you found this episode helpful, don't forget to subscribe and share it with someone who might need it. Sweet dreams, and I'll catch you next time. The prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain responsible for rational thinking, decision-making, and emotional regulation. It helps you stay logical and assess situations calmly. At night, especially when you wake up suddenly, this part of the brain isn't fully active, which is why small worries can feel overwhelming. Stillness here refers to the quiet and lack of activity at night. This silence and absence of distractions create a space where our thoughts are more noticeable and can sometimes become overwhelming, especially if those thoughts are stressful. The word vulnerable means being exposed to the possibility of harm, danger, or attack, either physically or emotionally. In the context of the text, it suggests that our ancestors were at greater risk of threats during the night, which may have influenced the brain's tendency to be more vigilant in the dark. Reframe your thoughts means to look at your worries or negative thoughts from a different, more positive or rational perspective. For example, instead of focusing on how bad something feels in the moment, you might ask yourself if it will still matter in the future or try to find a lesson in the situation. It's a way to shift your mindset and reduce the emotional weight of your concerns.